Welcome back home, racing fans. Well, this is a treat right here. This is something that I certainly don't do all the time. In fact, I don't think I've ever done it. But anyway, after the first review of the Maserati here from Slot.it with the issues that I had, Mr. Ferrari himself from Slot.it contacted me. We discussed the issues with the car, and he wanted to see the car that I had with the issues, so I sent it back to him, and he sent me a replacement. And we're going to talk about some of the things that I complained about that I noted in my first review, give you an explanation. There's also a great post going on right now on our thread on the HRW forum where he came in and he answered everyone's questions. So regardless of anything else, you just have to give a tip of the hat to Maurizio for doing that. It just shows he cares about his product, stands behind it, and he wants people to be happy. A lot of work's been put into a car like this, and if he has issues, he wants to know about them. So at least he stands behind his product, so big thumbs up for that. So anyway, the first thing I guess we're going to talk about is the alignment. Now, on this car, the alignment is a lot better. It isn't perfect, but it is a lot better. He is trying to figure that out right now, why one side is a little off. But you know what? This car here, it is a lot better than my last car if you look at the first review. So far, everything's looking good. Now, as far as the rear wheels go, he explained it, that these wheels, which, you know, I was showing in the review how easy they were to pop off, well, that was by design because he wanted these plastic wheels on here because for the factory, to paint these aluminum wheels and get them right without getting overspray and everything else that he explains, he opted to have these plastic wheels put on the rear. So it all makes sense. So that was my error. I'm sitting here saying that the wheels are really loose and this and that. Well, they were made to be loose. So what you're supposed to do is remove these wheels and install the aluminum wheels that are underneath the case. That was the compromise or the fix that he made so that the car looked right according to prototype photos, but then the racing enthusiast has the parts right here to make it, well, certainly make it more competitive the way it should be. So I'll give him credit for that. There's always a reason why some of these things happen, and he explained it. As far as the hole on the roof for the antenna, he took full responsibility for that. It's really not a big deal to me. I mentioned it in the review because I have to, but some guys online are just losing their minds over this thing. You can't hardly see it. So I don't know what the big deal is. It was a slight mistake. He took responsibility, but it doesn't take away from the look of the car. So I just don't understand. But, you know, some people complain just to complain. That's what they do. So far, I have to say that this car looks a lot better. I hope that your car looks a lot better, and I've been seeing all the responses online, and there's quite a few of you that haven't had any issues. So that's a good thing. Now the last thing we're going to cover is the headlight buckets, where my tires were rubbing. And if you can see right there, and we'll zoom in for that, there just isn't any clearance, hardly, between the tire and the inside of the light bucket. Now these lights, he explained to me, on my other model were not installed correctly. They have a factory issue there. These appear to be pretty good. So we don't have an issue. The only issue is going to happen is if you take this front axle and raise it up like I did to get this guide lowered in the slot, then yeah, it's probably going to rub. So, you know, shim the guide, I guess, to get it down there. That's going to have to be the answer. But there's no rubbing here out of the box like there was on the other one. So the way it is right now, there's no clearance issues. So I had to give it to him there. It must have been a factory defect because this car isn't rubbing. So anyway, we'll go inside. We'll talk about a few more things, but I just have to say that I appreciate the standing behind your product for Mr. Ferrari, that's just outstanding. You just don't see that much anymore these days. So in front of me is a perfectly good slot car. Let's hope I don't booger it up. But appreciate that. We'll go inside. We'll talk about the guide and the connections. And but you know, at the end of the day, if you look at the other review after we tuned it, the car ran great, and so will this one. So anyhow, hope a lot of you guys give us your feedback. Let us know about your cars. Really enjoyed seeing all that from all of you out there. So let's just keep it going. And just remember that when you think that someone isn't listening or paying attention, well, I can assure you that that's just not the case. So, all right, guys, we'll take a quick look inside. And that's the end of this part 2 review, the follow-up. And like I said, look forward to your comments. Okay, just a few comments on the inside. First questions that we've had is about this quick disconnect. Yes, it is new. And yes, it is for the Slot.it digital system. It's just a simple quick disconnect plug, and not that big a deal. One thing you do need to be aware of, though, is that on this car and this car only, the polarity is incorrect. It was inadvertently wired wrong, so you're going to have to change the wiring to get the correct polarity. I'm sure they're going to have a diagram for you guys to follow. So that's what this is all about. Just makes things easier for you guys using their digital system. The front guide, yes, it is new. The set screws to mount the wiring are in the front. So you go through the front bulkhead here, and that's where the set screws are, right there. And then you can loosen, tighten, and it just makes it easier for people to change the braid and everything else. And I have to agree. This is a lot better than trying to force the set screw at the top, but that's just my opinion. But that's all it was done. That's a change, and I think it's a change for the better. So anyway, there you have it. That's all there is to talk about on the inside. I hope this answers all your questions. And again, I tip my hat to Mr. Ferrari for standing behind his product and following through. Like I said, not many of them do. So again, always look forward to your comments, and I'll see you guys online.